In this video, I'm going to cover off the marketing list functionality in Microsoft Dynamics for Sales. This is very much an introductory video, so we're just going to cover some of the basic concepts around marketing lists and how to build a basic marketing list. We cover some more advanced topics later in the series, so we have some separate videos. You can see those listed in the links below. If you've got any suggestions on future content, or indeed if you need any help with Microsoft Dynamics, you can see the links below. So what are marketing lists and why are they important? Well, it's very much, as the name suggests, they're lists specifically of either contacts, people, accounts, organizations, or lead records. And they are generally used by the marketing team, though that's, they also have uses for other parts of the business as well. But very often these are used as the basis of a marketing campaign. And the marketing list tool is particularly powerful. It allows you to really sort of segment the data in your CRM systems. So that allows you to do highly targeted marketing campaigns. And obviously the more relevant a campaign is, typically the higher payback you're going to get. And typically you're going to get less unsubscribed. So it's quite an important feature. So if we have a look at the system, and I've got pretty much out of the box dynamic system here, you can see if I scroll down the left menu here, we've got a section here called marketing. Now, depending on what your security profile is, you may or may not have access to marketing lists. So if you go to try and access the system, can't see it there, can have a chat with your admin and obviously ask them to give you the right to access it. So if I go to marketing lists, and I can see we've got a couple of test lists that I've set up in the system already. So these are the active marketing lists. I can see other views of other of the marketing lists here if I wish to. Now if I want to create a new marketing list, I'll just go to the top here and select new. And I'm going to turn off the form assistance. And first thing is I can give this a name. I'm going to call this test 3, I think. Not sure what we've used already. Obviously, in real life, it's wise to be very specific with your naming convention. Just because if you've got a lot of marketing lists, finding the right one can be tricky. Now, it's asking me what the list type is. And I can see I've got the option of static and dynamic. And this is quite an important decision to make because these are very different things. So I will go through and I'll build a list for each. So the difference between the two should become a little bit more apparent as we go on. But in a sense, dynamic is you set the criteria and anything at a particular moment in time that meets those criteria goes into that marketing list, whereas static is something you control. You only put records into the marketing list when you decide to put records into the marketing list. You've got tools to put them in there or remove them, in fact, but you're in control. Dynamic is just going to put things that meet the criteria into the list. So I'm actually going to create this as a dynamic list. And you'll see it's quite important because that is an absolute mandatory field just by the red asterisk. You can see that. And then we have to choose whether it's targeted at. Now, typically, you're going to be targeting at contacts, but you can target accounts or organizations, and you can target leads. I'm going to select contact, and then I can put a source in, I can put a purpose in, I can put a cost in, or indeed, all of this is configurable, so it's possible your admin has taken away some of those fields or added others, but these are the out-of-the-box ones. And I'm now going to save that. Just go back into it. So that's the one I've started to create. You'll notice there's a field here called locked. So I do have the ability to lock that. That's prevent somebody inadvertently changing a list. And then just some of the other areas here. We've got members. So it's the people that make up that list. And then we've got area for notes and related records. Now, there's no members in there at the moment because I haven't done anything to add any members. So in order to do that, I go to the Manage Members area at the top here, or the Manage Members button, click on that, and then that looks very much like filters or the advanced find function, the modern version at least, because you've got legacy advanced find, you've got modern, the modern version, but this looks very much like the modern version. You can also use save views. So if you've created queries using advanced find previously, you can use those as a basis of your query that you're going to use to select your members. So this is a dynamic list. So here I'm just going to try and choose the criteria I want to put people into this list. So if I go to the add area here, and there's a drop down there, it says add a row, add a group, add related entity. We will cover more advanced concepts of being able to filter in future videos, but we'll just keep it simple for now, and I'll add a row. In other words, I'll add a field value. So let's say we're running a seminar and we want to invite people that are based in Seattle. I'm just using out of the box Dynamics data, so I'm quite limited with the data set. So let's select people that are based in Seattle, who are active in the system, their status is active, and they've got an email address. So that's 3 different criteria we're going to use for this set of filters to select who the membership of this marketing list is going to be. So I've got address here, city, we've got an operator, defaults to equals, but I could change that if I wish to. And then we're going to type in Seattle. This one's not a pick list, it's free text. I'm going to add another row, and we said status equals, again equals, we're fine with active, and then we're going to add another row, and we're going to say, if we just jump to the ease, let's say email address, and I will change the operator so that contains data. So those are my dynamic list criteria as an example. That's a series of AND statements, by the way. They are based in Seattle and they're active and they've got email. If I find those, it gives me a list of that membership, and if I'm happy with that, I'm going to use the query. Then that populates my membership based on those criteria. Now, if I change the criteria, if I go back to manage members and just wait a second, if I say actually it's not Seattle, it's Redmond, and if I could type Redmond, it would help. So if we just click find, use that query, then that changes the membership automatically. It doesn't add to it, it just changes it, because those are the records that meet those specific criteria. So that's a dynamic marketing list. What I'm going to show now is, if I just go back to my marketing list view, I'm going to add a test 4 now, and now I'm going to add a static one. So if I go to new, and I'll call this test 4. It's by default says static. Let's just clear those suggestions. By default it says static, and then we're going to target contacts again, and I think we're happy with that. Save that, just open that back up again, and again we see similar things to what we saw with the dynamic list. I didn't touch on this either, but we've got a sort of embedded subgrid of any related marketing campaigns or quick campaigns that we use this list for. At this stage we haven't done that. And now if I want to manage, add records to this, I have a slightly different view here. I've got manage members, and I'll just click on that. I've got a series of options. So I could add using a lookup. In other words, I could search for individual records in the system. I can add using an advanced find. I could remove using an advanced find, evaluate using an advanced find. Those two are pretty much the same, by the way. So I've got the ability to add or remove based on advanced find. So let's add using an advanced find. Again, similar interface to what we saw before, but let's say we want to use the same criteria. Let's say city equals Seattle. And we want to add a row, and let's say, well, we said status equals active, didn't we? Status equals active. And then if we want to add another row, we said email contains data. And what we see now, if I go find, slightly different. I've got the ability to add all of those or add only selected records. So I don't have to add all of them if I don't wish to. I'm going to add them all. But what I could also do is add additional records to this. So I could go back to manage members. Let's say add using advanced find. And this time we'll just add a single row. And let's say address one city equals Redmond. Find those, again add all. If I go to the membership now, you notice whereas before it just changed the query, this one it just adds to it. So it's with a static marketing list I've got complete control. If I want to remove somebody, let's say I can see Susan's record there, so I could go to manage members. I could remove using advanced find, and I could say add a row. Let's say I think it's probably first name equals Susan. If I wish to find that, are we happy to remove? And we can remove all or remove a selected one or remove all. So I've now removed that record. So as you can see with static we've got complete control. And the third thing I could do is add using a lookup. So I could search for somebody in the system. Let's say Robert, select that and add Robert in manually. So we've got within that static marketing list the ability to use queries, and we've done it in quite a basic way, and we'll show some more sophisticated uses of those queries. We've got the ability to add them via a query, or we've got the ability to remove them via a query, or we've got the ability to just find them in the system and add them. So we have a high degree of control over a static marketing list. And in truth, probably more often than not, I would use a static marketing list rather than a dynamic one. I think dynamic work well if you've got very simple criteria. For example, you want to know all people that have subscribed to a particular newsletter, then that's quite a good mechanism for managing that. If you've got a situation where we don't have maybe precise rules on who we want to include in the list, and we might want to use the query tools to add initial number of records, but then refine that by removing and adding records, it gives you a lot more control. So personally, I tend to use static marketing lists more than anything else. So that's the basic of it. By the way, one thing we can do is, just to show you this finally, is if I go to a contact record, and let's say, let's just go to Susanna here. What I could do, you'll see here I've got the ability to add Susanna to a marketing list. So if I just click on that, I can look for records. Let's look for the right marketing list. It's only going to display static ones. If I want to add her to that test 4, I can do that. And that's quite a good way. Let's say if you wanted to, perhaps you're doing a sort of corporate entertaining day or something like that, or a seminar you wanted to invite people to. It's a good way of sort of, if you want to go out to the business and ask them if they'd like to nominate people, and they can just add them individually to a marketing list using that mechanism. So that can be quite helpful. Anyway, hopefully that's been a useful introduction to marketing lists. I say it's one in the series. We've got some further marketing list videos on slightly more advanced topics, particularly around querying the system. You can see links to those below. If you've got any suggested future content, or indeed you need any help with Microsoft Dynamics, we've got links to those below as well. Anyway, thank you very much for your time, and hopefully see you again soon.